Okay, everyone, so there's some major news that just dropped. Sorry for all the ads on the side, I don't have ad blocker. Basically, you may now enter a maximum of 30 unique instances per day per realm. So this is probably the biggest change to boosting that I've seen in a while, and this is going to really affect everything from speed leveling to power leveling. Zeger's record is going to be very hard to beat at this point, given this change as far as real time goes. So this, I believe, is in effect immediately. This was dropped on Wowhead, I think, like 15 minutes ago. But this is going to be pretty game changing. So this is in addition, obviously, to the 5 instances per hour, but now it's 30 instances per 24 hours. So with that in mind, you can pretty much do 6 hours of boosting a day. Now, granted, if you're only doing 6 hours boosting a day, it's not going to affect you. But for people that are leveling up a lot per day, or if they're leveling their own tunes a lot per day or something like that, or just speed running through clears, farming instances, etc., this is definitely going to affect you. I think this is probably to stifle the gold farming. I don't think they necessarily care as much about the boosting, but more so the gold farming from various gold selling websites that comes out because of this. So this is really going to change the entire landscape. It may make the runs more expensive to handle that, but I'm going to try to go over just some extra things that we can kind of do now to circumvent that. And so let's jump into some ideas that I had. So my very first idea, we're going to focus on SM. This is going to obliterate Stockades. Stockades is going to be out of the window just because Stockades has so few mobs. But you could still do things like Wailing Caverns. Wailing Caverns is probably going to become a huge instance now because Wailing Caverns is, well, it's larger. It's a larger instance, which means more mobs, which means more XP. Similarly, the largest instance is probably Mara. Second largest, though, is going to be SM. So let's go through the level ranges. Let's think how we can kind of still maximize our experience, right? SM still counts as one instance and one lockout. So when we bounce from library to cathedral to arms to graveyard, that all counts as one instance. This means that the new optimal SM, if you're going to be doing more than 6 hours of boosting per day, or if you want to do more than 30 instances, bear in mind this also counts for raids. So if you have a raid, don't do 30, do 29, or do 28 if you're going to have multiple raids, because those are going to count. Then what we could potentially do is throw in library, throw in graveyard. And so the individual runs per hour are going to be less, but you're going to be able to do it for longer. With that in mind, you could definitely charge more per run because you're going to be doing more mobs. But you also have to think about the average levels. So either we get experience, you can see these mobs are level 38, but once we do GY, we have some mobs that are as low as level like 30, right? So with mobs as low as the low 30s, you really want the average group level to be around 34. Any higher than 34, you're gonna start killing your experience. And that kind of same thing goes with library, because library is around 34. So this is all theory crafting. Obviously, this is just past few minutes of news, but I want to be able to bring this to you as soon as possible. So right now, what we're doing is we're just looking at a SM clip that I have, but I would recommend that if you are going to be a booster that is boosting for hours and hours and hours, you really start contemplating looking into implementing more runs in SM. That's going to be library, cathedral, armory, and depending on your average group level, potentially GY in there as well, just to maximize the amount of experience that you're getting. This is great. I'm actually kind of just mind blown right now. Like this is just my genuine reaction of mind blown. Hashtag no changes. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, and so let's move on to Mara, and let's talk about a little bit of ways to optimize Mara so that we can optimize our XP there. All right, so here we are back in Mara. So now Mara, many of you know that there's various different pools. You could do a 170 pool, you could do a 220 pool, you could do a 300 pool. We're now going to need to optimize the amount of experience that we get, and the runtime doesn't matter as much. Now, if you're only doing it for 6 hours, you know something that's going to be really interesting from this, actually? The variety of different boosters that there's going to be. There's going to be some boosters that go out there and they're just trying to get the maximum amount of experience in the limited amount of time that they have. So in the 6 hours. there's going to be some boosters that are just trying to extend their runs and maybe take an XP sacrifice, for example, adding in GY and things like that, while at the same time extending the amount of total time that they can do it to level up. This is going to be interesting. There's going to be a very, very wide array of boosters, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it all shakes out. But with the Mara pools, given the update, the 300 pool is going to become much more popular. With that in mind, Elixirs of Giant Growth on any alliance realm, or any realm with alliance, is likely going to go up in price, because gnomes are the most popular mage race for alliance, and in order to do the 300 pool, you're going to need 2 Giant Growth Elixirs, or at least 1. Definitely 1. Would recommend 2 because of the amount of mobs you're going to have on you. So that's going to change the landscape of how much Giant Growth Elixirs cost, because they used to be very cheap, and I don't imagine that they're going to stay very cheap for very long. And at the same point, it's also going to impact the individual runs. So typically we don't do the 300 pool because it takes anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes at least. 15 minutes just for the run, 20 minutes for the entire thing, with including reset. And so it's not really worth the extra 1 bar of experience. But if you're only able to do 30 runs per day, and you want to do pretty much every single, if you want to boost for like 10 hours or more, granted, this is for the extreme boosters, or if you're getting boosted, if you want to do that many runs, you're really going to need to think about potentially switching over to the 300 pool if you want to do that. As far as the cost of 300 pool, increase the cost by about 20% from whatever you're charging now. If you're charging 12 gold, charge 15. So I guess 25%. If you're charging 10 gold, charge 13. Rough estimates. Obviously, it's going to be server dependent, but that's going to be how we could potentially improve our Mara optimization to handle this new drastic change. Now, here's the big kicker. How do we do ZG? So Zegers recently came out with a video pulling Panthers, or at least he did on a stream. I'm not sure if he made a video, but he has a new Panthers strat where he includes some Panthers. The Panthers only give 300 XP per mob, so they're typically not worth it. That being said, you're going to hit lockout with ZG pretty easily. So you can do, if you do include the Jindo mobs, we're looking at 15 minutes of reset, which means 4 resets per hour, which means approximately 7.5 hours of boosting per day that you could do. But if you want to extend that further, I would honestly just recommend bringing in Bloodvine farming. I would just tell the boosties that it's going to take a couple extra minutes and you're just going to go pick up those Bloodvines, because at the end of the day, the boosties probably won't like that though, so maybe not. You might be limited to 7.5. I don't know any way to optimize this. And so personally, I'm trying to think for when I go for the world record again, because 7.5 hours boosting in ZG, even if it's just one person, that's only about 5 levels. This is really going to change things, guys. This is going to be huge. We're going to somehow need to get to 58 while hitting lockout. And we're going to have carryover from Mara. Oh man, this is going to be crazy. Okay, so with the ZG, I would say that I would stick with the standard pool. I honestly, I wouldn't start trying to include Panthers or anything crazy. The Panthers are only going to give you 300 experience per each. So even if you include 12 Panthers, it's 3,600 experience when you're getting 25,000. So it's that extra risk of death. It's that extra time for an extra 15% XP per run. Ultimately, over, I guess, 7 runs, you're going to get an extra runs equivalent. So every 2 hours, you get like an extra run. I don't think it's worth it, even with this change, because this still gives you about 7.5 hours when you're including Jindo's mobs of boosting. And this doesn't factor in if you run for picking up pots or anything like that. So I'd say it's probably still not worth it to go for it. The other thing I want to bring up, now I'm thinking about it, is be careful about dying in instances. This is actually going to play a vital role. If you guys do the logout trick for instances, obviously this doesn't really affect Mara or SM too much unless you're on a PvP server. But if you do the logout trick, when you run back in the instance, you typically get counted for 2 instances. that's definitely something that I would be cautious about moving forward. So I guess with this change, there's a lot of things that we need to think about, and we're just going to bring back up that page so we can read it just again. So we have 30 unique instances per day, 5 instances per hour. Obviously, you can only do 4 instances per hour, so really this is about 7.5 hours of boosting. If you want to do more than 7.5 hours of boosting, though, you're going to need to change your structure. You're going to need to make SM longer by adding in more instances. You're going to need to make Mara longer by pooling the larger pools. And Strat might take over. Honestly, Strat runs are probably going to overtake ZG runs now that I think about it, just because Strat runs, you can pull a lot more mobs. There's about 5 packs extra. Yeah, there's about 5 individual pools, maybe even 6 that you could do in Strat that could ultimately get you anywhere between 25 and 30k per run in XP, and that's even with the full group. So that's probably what's going to overtake it. So Strat's probably going to be booming in popularity with this, because that run itself, while you can do it in 12 minutes, realistically it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes for most people. So that's going to be a good alternative. And I'm sure people are going to try to find out ways to solve that. This is going to be huge. This is going to be a big change. So I wanted to make this video real quick and kind of talk through what's going through my head. This is not planned, obviously. This just happened, just got announced, at least through Wowhead. So this is me coming to you live with the breaking news. Hopefully this helps. Talk in the comments. Let's talk about some theories behind it. If you have any ideas, if you have any requests for videos, if you have any requests for me to talk about something because of this change, definitely let me know, because I'm very curious what this is going to do to the entire landscape. All right, everyone, that wraps up today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment below to let me know so. And if you guys have any other ideas for any other videos, please let me know in the comments below. Also, check out the description for the Twitch, where I do all this live, and also for my Twitter and Discord, where you guys can be notified of any future updates and when I'm going to go live on stream. So I'll see you guys in the next video.